Rugby World Cup 2023 is 2 years away, folks. Who are the favourites? Who are the underdogs? We did take a look at this 1 year ago, so 3 years out from the Rugby World Cup. It had New Zealand as the favourites. I think Argentina were kind of not too favoured to do much. South Africa was not even top three. Let's have a look. It's a year later. How have these odds changed? We'll be looking at which teams are going up, which teams are going down, and which teams are kind of staying the same. We do have Samoa, who is now qualified. There's still a few teams to talk about who have not yet qualified. But yeah, let's have a look. Who are the favourites? Who are the underdogs? How are we calculating this? We're looking at bookmakers' odds, which you probably need to take with a bit of a grain of salt. And remember, bookmakers are looking to try and make money. But essentially, we've taken those bookmakers' odds and converted them into an implied probability, taking off their overround, which is what they put on, to make sure they make that money back. So trying to keep it as a nice percentage number out of 100 for each team. And I'll give you the odds as well in case you like a flutter, so you can kind of decide if there's any good bets out there. Let's start with the teams who do not yet have a spot in the Rugby World Cup. That's the likes of USA, Tonga, Georgia. You can bet on all of these teams currently. I should say I looked at a New Zealand bookmaker's odds, but I did check an Aussie one. I checked a South African one. I checked the UK one. They're all much of a muchness. They're all pretty much the same. Paying $501, meaning if you bet $1 and they win the World Cup, you will get $500 plus your original dollar back. That's a 0.2% chance. So not too favored are those three teams. That's the same as it was a year ago. It is also the same for the newly qualified Samoa, and it's also the same for the team with a pretty rubbish pool, Italy. 0.2% chance, $501 for those guys, same as it was last year. One team who gets the green pen, who's up slightly, is Fiji. Fiji have 0.3% chance of winning the Rugby World Cup, paying $251. So a slightly longer shot than some of the other teams above them, but slightly better odds than the teams I've just mentioned. You can seriously see Fiji on their day knocking over the Wallabies or Wales, but could Fiji string together at least one pool win over these guys, plus beating the teams they need to beat? Remember, they slipped up against Uruguay in 2019. And then could they go and win a quarterfinal, semi-final, or final? Not according to the bookies, but you can chuck some money on the Fijians if you reckon they are worth a shout. Now, the lowest ranked, but also up, lowest ranked of the second seeds is Japan, and they are on 0.6% chance. 0.6. So these teams, you got your top seeds, Wales, New Zealand, England, and South Africa. Your second seeds are Japan, Ireland, France, and the Wallabies. So Japan are your lowest ranked of the second seeds, which is the same as it was last year, like I mentioned, but they're up from 0.4%. So hey, at least they're trending in the right direction. Remember, they are away from home, which is maybe part of the reason they're not as favoured as they might have been in 2019. Scotland, also a green pen. You guys are tracking nicely up to 1.6%, up from 1%. So Scotland paying $51. I should have mentioned Japan paying $151. So Scotland, their job number one is to get out of the pool with those two mean teams in green alongside them. But again, it's the consistency with Scotland to go on and win. Firstly, get out of the pool, then win a quarterfinal, semi-final, and final, which is not an easy job, but certainly a talented squad, guys. Another team which is on the way up is the Pumas, so they also get the green pen. Like Scotland, these guys are more than a whole percent. They are up to 3.1%. 3.1% for the Pumas, up from 2.4% a year ago. So the Pumas paying $26. Again, it's a tough pool. They had England in their pool last time. It's all about getting out of that pool stage initially for those teams which are the third ranked one. But they are kind of the second favoured team in this pool, given that they are, whilst they've kind of qualified lower than Japan, they are rated higher. And if you look at the Rugby World rankings, as I sit here recording this video in September 2021, Argentina are also higher ranked than Japan as well. Next, we have our lowest ranked of the top seeds of the first tier teams, and that is Wales. But also they are in the green. They are on 4.9% chance. So paying $17. They were paying $19 a year ago. But remember, a year ago, Wales were not Six Nations champions, and they had just come off a pretty poor Autumn Nations Cup run. So 2020 was kind of a rubbish year for Wales. They bounced back pretty nicely in 2021, although they did lose without their British and Irish Lions players to Argentina. But Wales still seem to be kind of tracking nicely, which is not something I was kind of able to say a year ago. I was questioning, can Pivac kind of get this things right? Well, seemingly things are tracking pretty well, but you do look at them and they are below their the second tier side in their pool. But I looked at Rugby World Cup records, and Wales have got a pretty decent one, so maybe a little bit of a dark horse with those odds. Now, a team I'm going to go with the Black Pen, which is the same odds as last year, is Ireland. A year ago, they were at 5.5%, and this year they are also at 5.5%. So paying $15 Ireland. It's the quarterfinal curse, isn't it, that maybe pushes people away from putting too much money on Ireland. But there you go, Ireland tracking the same as they were last year. And I think that's maybe reflective of Ireland's performances under Andy Farrell. They've been kind of going pretty solid without being spectacular, right? So, they're at least not tracking poorly, which is not something I can say about the Wallabies, whose odds have slipped a bit. They were paying $9 last year. They're now paying $13. Obviously, the bigger return, the more long of a shot the bet is, right? So, $13 means the Wallabies are now at 6.3%. They were at 9.2% last year, so they've had a bit of a tough time of it. They keep playing New Zealand, and they've just been swept by New Zealand again as I record this. So, it's been a bit of a tough time for Dave Rennie's side. But remember, his team's pretty young. He's playing a lot of young guys in that squad, so in 2 years' time, they may be just coming right. You never know. Now, next, and this is an interesting one because it's the same as it was last year. They're the only other team, apart from those kind of 0.2% teams, and alongside Ireland, that is tracking the same as last year, and it's South Africa on 12.7%. So not even top three for the number one team in the world and for the reigning champions, which strikes me as bizarre. Is it because South Africa tend to strike one in every 3 World Cups and it's not their turn? Is it because they weren't playing for such a long time and they've only just kind of come back into action? But when they came back into action, apart from the first initial loss to the British and Irish Lions, they won that series. They beat Georgia. And they've beaten the Pumas 2 times in a row. So South Africa seem to be tracking pretty well, but 12.7%, paying $6.50, same as last year. So maybe to chuck a few sneaky bucks on South Africa wouldn't be a bad thing. You could probably spend your money worse ways. Obviously, gamble responsibly if that's what you're planning to do. Another team who is tracking with the old red pen is England. England were at 16.5% last time. They are now at 15%. Remember, England are always pretty high on the old bookmakers' odds, especially Six Nations and whatnot, because they're often swayed by the amount of people who punt, and it seems like there's a fair few punters from England, so they're always up there. But they're slightly down. Not by much. They were paying $5 a year ago, now they're paying $5.50. So slightly worse odds, but that still gives them top 3 at the moment. I'm not sure. I think Eddie's probably going to rebuild the squad a little bit with some of the younger guys coming in. We saw with the British and Irish Lions core of the squad away and a few guys rested, we saw Eddie kind of bring in an influx of youngsters who may be peaking in 2 years' time. So we'll kind of have to see how things go. 2 left, and they're both in Pool A. Has France pipped the All Blacks as favourite? Not quite yet, but they are in the green. France paying $3.50 are at 23.6% chance of winning the Rugby World Cup. That's up from 18.3. So they were paying more now. They're paying only $3.50. So yeah, France is second favourite. Man, again, talk about a young squad which is going to be peaking in 2023, and they're going to be at home. Going to be a serious threat. And the final squad, which is still the favourite, but is in the old red pen, is the All Blacks. They are at 25.4%. So still ever so slightly ahead of the French, but they're down from 28.6. So it used to be more than kind of a 10% lead to the All Blacks, if you can call it that. Now it is down to only less than 2. So yeah, Rugby World Cup 2023, folks. Again, it is not too far away, just 2 years. We'll look at this again in a year to see how the odds have shifted. Obviously, we'll have seen South Africa play a bit of rugby since then. As I record this, we haven't seen what's going to happen with the Rugby Championship. We don't know. I would imagine if the All Blacks get beaten by the Box, then their odds will shift again. But yeah, what do you guys reckon? Do you think any of these teams are kind of being slept on? Do you think Wales is kind of underrated there? Like I said, I looked at their World Cup record, and that does seem a little bit dodgy. Do you think Fiji is capable of going on a proper run, or do you think they'd be struggling to get out of their pool? South Africa seems like one obvious one that's being a wee bit underrated for mine. Is France the true favourites being at home? They've not quite managed to click fully yet with like a Six Nations trophy or anything, but man, they're building. So you feel like it's only a matter of time for those guys. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. It's just a bit of fun. As always, don't take it too seriously. If you do enjoy the vids, feel free to check out the Patreon, buy me a coffee, follow me on Twitter, I don't know, all the good stuff. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Take care, guys. I will talk to you again soon. See you later.